Walt Disney's Disneyland. Each week as you enter this timeless land, one of these many worlds will open to you. Tomorrowland, promise of things to come. Fantasyland, the happiest kingdom of them all. Frontierland, tall tales and true from the legendary past. Adventureland, the wonder world of nature's own realm. Presenting this week from Adventureland, Cameras in Africa. Now, your host, Walt Disney.
About 3 years ago, we set out to film the story of the African lion. But it soon developed that we were making a picture as big as Africa itself. Although the King of Beasts remains our central character, hippos, elephants, rhinos, great herds of grazing beasts all play important and sometimes very dramatic roles in our story. Ordinarily, filming such a picture would require tons of equipment, elaborate safaris, and a half a dozen camera crews. But instead, we had Al and Elma Milotte, a husband and wife team of photographers, and they were all that we needed. Now, the Milottes operate entirely alone. No safaris, no guides. I don't think they even have a gun between them. The equipment they use is only cameras and courage. Now, it isn't often that we find Al in town, but when we do, he usually has a very interesting story to tell. And this time, it's his own true-life adventure behind the cameras in Africa.
Almost every country has its national parks and game preserves, and each park is usually noted for one particular form of wildlife. In Canada, Jasper National Park features the moose. In the United States, Yellowstone National Park is famous for its American black bear. In fact, that's where Elma and I filmed the true-life adventure called Bear Country. And so when we heard that Kruger National Park in South Africa was the place to find lions, that's the place we headed for. This is the African version of a motel, but over here they call them rest camps. If it really was a rest camp, Elma and I never got a chance to prove it. We were much too busy. And since this was the last place we could take on supplies, we didn't dare forget anything. I suppose you would call this food with an international flavor, but at least we knew what was in the other half of the can. Of course, the purpose of our expedition was to film the true-life adventure story of the African lion. So in addition to food and general equipment, we took camera accessories for every condition possible in photography. Once on the road in Kruger National Park, the African story began with an ostrich and a fan dance. After the performance, the star of the show consented to pose for some informal portraits. Elma was housewife, sound engineer, assistant cameraman, chauffeur, and in her spare time, official still photographer of the expedition. If you want to see lions for sure, Kruger Park's the place to go. They're plentiful here. Of course, so are automobiles and people. Even though the lions strike their most picturesque poses at the sight of a camera, you'll notice nobody gets out of a car to take a picture. In a remote stretch of river, we found hippos. The sounds of Africa were vital to our story, too. And so it was a part of our job to make on-the-spot tape recordings. This looks like a lethal weapon, but actually it's only a directional microphone. The hippos were so entertaining, we were sorry to leave them. But our main objective was lions. So we pushed on and found rhinoceros. These were the rare white rhinos that can be found only in this remote corner of Zululand. I'd been told that a rhino's behavior was unpredictable, that you never knew whether he was going to charge or not. Still, I figured this was the chance I had to take to get pictures. Here I'm moving in much too close. I guess it's beginner's luck that I got away with it. Lunch along the way, and by this time we always ate in the truck. It was safer. Here's one of the reasons why. The black rhino. I was to look a lot of rhinos in the eye during my stay in Africa, but I never learned to like it. They say a charging rhino can overturn a truck. And so until this fellow made up his mind, we had a few bad moments. A rhino going away doesn't present his most attractive camera angle, but this was one picture we were glad to take. What we were still looking for, though, was that ideal shooting site where animals of every kind and variety lived in a truly wild state. There were such places in Africa, and one of these, we were told, was the fabulous Serengeti Plain in the Tanganyika territory, about 2,000 miles away. And so we pushed off. Along the way, we came upon the strangest episode in the African story. It was a rhino who led us to it. As we followed this fellow with our cameras down to a water hole, we came upon another rhino hopelessly bogged in the mud. What we were seeing was a fossil in the making. For this is exactly how prehistoric animals were trapped in the tar pits and clay beds of a bygone era. Here at the water hole, the same trap awaits all comers. But the others are lucky. They leave. He remains. A baboon, one of the most intelligent of animals, appears to study the problem, but is unable to find the answer. An impala shows only a passing interest. The elephant is the only animal big enough and strong enough to help. But of course, nothing could be further from his mind. In fact, he finds the rhino's agony so upsetting, he finally panics and runs away. Deserted by his fellow creatures, his great strength ebbing fast, still the rhino's will to survive remains strong to the end. Death is never easy in Africa. A moment ago, it looked like we left a dying rhino stuck in the mud. But the truth is, we didn't leave him. We pulled him out with our camera truck, and he was still very much alive. During the rescue operation, there wasn't much time for pictures. Not moving pictures anyway. But we did manage to get a few stills. Here I've got one line around the fellow, but I don't know what to do next. At this point, a game warden and his guards happened along. And together we managed to hitch a couple more lines around the rhino. And here's the warden's signal to haul away. Operation Rescue is just about complete here. Our little strip of movie film was taken after the rescue. In the next moment, he charged us. To show his gratitude, I suppose. Another still picture just before he hit the truck. This was the last view we had of him as he went on his grumpy way. All through the dry season, we kept pushing on toward our destination, the Serengeti Plain. We were still moving when the rainy season arrived. Here the natives serve as living guideposts to keep us in the shallow places. On the water-soaked plains, we were trapped time and again. And so another duty was added to our already overworked truck. In addition to being home, office, warehouse, workshop, darkroom, and mobile blind, it now had to become its own tow truck. I don't know what we'd have done without the motor winch to pull us out of the really tough places. And so we rumbled on. And finally, after days and weeks of travel, we got there. We were on the edge of the Ngorongoro crater, and just beyond lay the Serengeti Plain. At least that's what our map said. Actually, from car level, we could see nothing, but we had come equipped for this situation. On the top of the truck was a collapsible camera tower. It took only a few minutes to put it up, but I was to spend days up here. If I were asked to choose the most impressive scenes of all the thousands I shot for the African lion, I'd have to say that they were the ones I saw from this tower. Here, spread out across the Serengeti Plain, was an incredible panorama. Wildebeest, eland, gazelle, zebra, millions of animals stretching into and beyond the horizon. Here is the lion's food. Here, then, must be his domain. Among lions, it's the female who does most of the hunting, and while the other mothers are out shopping for dinner, one is left behind as a babysitter. These youngsters have wandered off on their own, and nurse has to bring them home again. Keeping tabs on these fiddle-footed youngsters is a never-ending job. At the proper time, the cubs are given lessons in hunting. Here, they're learning to look as unhungry as possible while approaching a herd of wildebeest. But when the herd approaches them, well, they decide it's wiser to wait for a few more lessons. With food on all sides, feeding the family wouldn't appear to be much of a problem. But it's an odd fact that the grazing animals can sense when the lioness is hunting. Animals that watched her with only curiosity before are now panic-stricken at her approach. Impala depart in soaring bounds. Zebras retreat in a cloud of dust. And the eland calls on his powerful legs to carry him out of danger. But the lioness has spotted a lone wildebeest. And now she begins her stalk. The hunt is a normal part of the lion's existence, and her existence is part of nature's infinite plan. We knew that our feature on the African lion wouldn't be complete without the telling of this chapter. And we believe that this was one of the first unstaged lion kills ever recorded on film. And here it is. But in the African story, tragic moments are often relieved by moments of comedy. In the lion's realm, the baboons are the court jesters, and our true life adventure cameras were able to record many intimate moments in their private lives. A baby baboon always sticks close to mother. And wherever she goes, he rides the rumble seat. The familiar giraffe comes equipped with a built-in lookout tower, which helps him spot danger a long way off. His neck also serves as a weapon in these mating combats. This may look like a good-natured sparring match, but one well-directed blow can mean a broken neck. The most confident and casual of all the big cats, the cheetah, never worries about catching up with his dinner, for the cheetah is the fastest four-footed animal on Earth. His top speed is an incredible 80 miles an hour. And once he selects his quarry, he ignores everything else in his path. In a race with a cheetah, few escape. In the motion picture story of the African lion, the elephant is the heavy in the cast, but only in the matter of size. Actually, he has no natural enemies and goes his way through the African scene unmolested. Although he leads a leisurely life, he's the most vigilant of all animals, and we counted ourselves extremely lucky to catch these intimate glimpses of these elusive animals. In their baths, some elephants favor total submersion. Others prefer to draw their own shower. In the African lion story, the chapter on elephants is fully told. These are only a few of the highlight scenes. Through the lion's realm flow the rivers of Africa. And here, too, thundering cataracts fill the air with majestic sound. And up from the heart of the lion's hunting ground, the mountains of Africa rear their heads. And the lion's subjects wander the limitless plains in variety and numbers beyond counting. Rhino, zebra, hippo, giraffe, wildebeest, cheetah, warthog, roan antelope, sable antelope, impala, buffalo, waterbuck, leopard, jackal, hyena, hartebeest. All these and many others pay homage to one majestic animal. Truly, the story of Africa is the story of the African lion, king of beasts.
When your heart is in your dream.
You have seen the story of how Walt Disney's ace camera team, the Milottes, photographed his latest and most thrilling true-life adventure feature, African Lion. Don't miss this exciting motion picture coming to your favorite theater in 1955. Remember, it's Walt Disney's latest true-life adventure feature, African Lion, in Technicolor. This has been an ABC Television Network presentation.